Titanic once again viral in the news after 111 years. Is the sinking of the Titanic an accident or a conspiracy? 5 questions whose answers could not be found even after a century. We all have seen the Hollywood movie Titanic. Well, the story of this film was made as a romantic film. But in the story of this film, based on a true story, there were many events that people felt as if they were seeing the entire incident with their own eyes. But a movie is a movie, and reality changes a lot. InfoVision TV brings you some logics that you have never seen or heard before. So today we are going to tell you 5 facts about the reality of the Titanic that will blow your mind and make you think that the Titanic disaster was an accident or a big conspiracy. Number 1. Why were binoculars not given to the Titanic crew? Generally, during the journey of ships, there is a navigation room on the front side of the ship, which is built on a high place. This room is manned 24 hours a day by 2 people whose job it is to keep an eye on the way ahead of the ship, so as to be informed ahead of time about any obstacle that may come up. These men have binoculars, which allow them to look into the distance and inform the captain of the ship ahead of time about the route. But according to the BBC, a sailor of the Titanic named David Blair was responsible for providing navigation equipment to the ship's crew. But at the last moment, his duty was changed, and he forgot to give the keys of the storeroom to the other sailor, due to which the binoculars could not be given to the duty persons working in the navigation room. This is the reason why the people on duty on the night of April 15, 1912, could not see this iceberg ahead of time due to the absence of binoculars. It was for this reason that when the iceberg came very close to the Titanic, the men on duty informed the captain of its presence, but by then it was too late, and the captain did not have enough time to turn the ship around. Number 2. Why didn't the captain of the Titanic reduce his speed despite the warning? When the Titanic left for its journey in the North Atlantic, Philip S. Franklin, the vice president of White Star Line, the company that built it, claimed that the Titanic was unsinkable. It was for this reason that only 2 days after setting sail, when nearby ships gave Titanic's Captain Smith an ice warning about the presence of icebergs in the vicinity and advised him to slow down, his captain, he listened to the talk from one ear and blew it from the other. On April 14th, Titanic received 7 ice warnings, but the captain continued to cruise at 40 kilometers per h. This is the reason why the Titanic could not be stopped due to its high speed when its sailors told the captain about the iceberg. And it breaks into pieces with an iceberg. Number 3. Why didn't any other ships come to help Titanic? One side of the Titanic was damaged by an iceberg collision and the front parts were rapidly filling with water. At this point, his Captain Smith ordered radio operator Jack Phillip to immediately signal for help from nearby ships. But despite repeatedly giving signals to nearby ships, there is no response from them. After 20 minutes, a ship RMS Carpathia receives a signal that it is 3.5 hours away from the Titanic. He also decides to steer his ship towards the Titanic, but then decides not to help the Titanic due to its distance. While the other ships near the Titanic also do not come to its aid. Was the decision not to help the Titanic a coincidence, or was it a conspiracy, which was done to disprove the claim of being unsinkable? History has no answer to this question. Why were only 20 lifeboats kept in Titanic for thousands of passengers? 23 passengers were traveling in this huge and luxurious ship of Titanic, while there were only 20 lifeboats in the ship, which could only save 1,200 people. The Titanic was a luxury ship and was initially planned to carry 64 lifeboats, which were later reduced to 32 and then 20. The question is, why did the builders of the Titanic keep the lifeboats low against the advice of legal experts? Were those people overconfident? Or was this also pointing to a conspiracy? Number 5. Was the cause of the Titanic disaster not an iceberg but a supermoon? Instead of putting the responsibility of Titanic disaster on the iceberg, researchers put the responsibility on the supermoon. Researchers believe that on January 4th, 1912, the moon and the earth were aligned. Such an event was seen only once in 1,400 years. Due to this supermoon, very high waves were created in the sea. These waves separated the iceberg from the Greenland glacier and carried it into the path of the Titanic, and then destroyed it. Number 6. How did Titanic Captain Edward Smith die? What Captain Smith did when he found out that the Titanic had hit an iceberg. Some say that Captain Smith committed suicide by shooting himself with his pistol after watching the sinking of the Titanic, while some people also said that he continued to hold the ship's captaincy until it sank. These are all questions that researchers are still trying to answer. This is the reason why efforts are made to go to the wreck of the Titanic all over the world, so that the reasons for its destruction can be known from its wreckage. In recent days, the passengers of the submarine Titan which was destroyed in the North Atlantic, probably went to see the wreckage of the Titanic in search of answers to the same questions. But instead of solving this problem of Titanic, it became a question itself. After Titanic, Titan has also become a challenge for researchers, and everyone has been forced to think whether the destruction of Titan like Titanic was an accident or it was also a conspiracy. To watch videos full of such logics, subscribe to our channel InfoVision TV and don't forget to like and share the video.